Hey Gator fans. All right, so in this video, we're going to be covering a positive note that was detailed and analyzed by a famous college football pundit, Cole Kubelik. And if you're not familiar with Cole Kubelik, he has his own YouTube podcast that covers college football, kind of like Josh Pate with formerly of Late Kick. But Cole Kubelik did a video recently talking about the running back rooms in the SEC and on his the Cube Show presented by Wickles Pickles. You can find that on YouTube. And this video that I'm going to talk about that he talked about regarding running backs in the SEC. I'm going to make sure I put a link to that video in the description box. But in this video, he was talking about the top five running back rooms in the SEC, and he had the Florida Gators at the number one spot. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pause the recording right here, and then I'm gonna include this clip that he described talking about Florida's running back room, and we're gonna further break that down and why I think Gator fans should take a solid note in what Cole Kubelik is saying. So here's the video.
To my number one running back room in the Southeastern Conference. Now, some of this is a little bit of a projection, but we've at least seen it to a certain extent. So for me, it's Florida and the Florida Gators. A lot of this is riding on Jaden Baugh. I just marvel at a young man that's 235 pounds, that is as quick as he is laterally, gets to full speed as quickly as he does, and still brings the power on a consistent basis that he does. Now, he had the ultimate grinder in Montrell Johnson in front of him last year, a guy that could take 30, 35 carries a game if he had to, and would just work his way for 4, 6, 8, 10 yards and keep grinding out first downs. One, he's going to be running outside zone a large portion of the time, which gives him the ability to utilize patience, find a space, find a crease, put a foot in the ground, get north and south, and punish defenders, something he's really good at. He also has the elusiveness to be able to give you a spin or a juke and get out of your way. I think he is absolutely fantastic. I don't think there is another speed power combination with quickness like him in the Southeastern Conference. I really don't. And then you go to Jacoby Jackson, who had 95 carries, 509 yards last year, without even really maintaining any real workload consistently through the course of the season. Then you see some of the things he did in the spring game, and he looks like he could be maybe a little bit more the home run hitter, a little bit more dynamic than Baugh, even though I think Baugh has breakaway speed and can be that guy that you lean on, that can use that ability to kind of grind on you and just continue to pound you, but then break a couple away later once he gets the defense worn.
Okay, so you just heard Cole Kubelik talk about Florida's running back room, and he admitted that while you're ranking teams based off of their position groups, if you hear a fan going on, that's my fan. It's a little hot in my room. But if when you're talking about who on paper you think has the best running back room, or the best wide receiver room, or the best offensive line room, or the best defense in the conference before the season starts, it's all based on projection. But in Cole's case, what he's talking about with Florida is that you look at the production that Jaden Ball and Montrell Johnson and Jacoby Jackson had last year for Florida. You had three running backs with over 500 yards apiece. 509 for Jacoby, 593 for Montrell. Could have had a few more if it wasn't for some injuries. And Jaden Ball was 673. Jaden Ball earned all SEC freshman mentions last year. Jacoby Jackson was a JUCO transfer for Florida in the 2023 recruiting class, and now he's going to be heading into his third year at Florida. And obviously, being that he's gotten more reps, he's going to be more comfortable in the offense. And that is what Cole Kubelik is basing his projection for Florida's running back room off of, and how they stack compared to the rest of the SEC. And if you want to look at how they compared to the other teams that he had on his list, I'll put the link to that video in the description box. As far for what these running backs bring to the table, I can't disagree with what he said. Being that I watched these guys last year because I'm a fan of the team, so obviously I know where he's coming from, and I agree with what he's coming from. And I've said this before. While I question Napier's game management as a coach and his play calling, I don't even necessarily dislike his offensive system. I just dislike his play calling. I don't question the job that he and his staff have done together in terms of evaluating talent, particularly out of the running back situation. You know, you heard him mention Montrell Johnson Jr., but it's not just Montrell Johnson Jr. and the other two running backs that we're talking about. It's also Trevor Etienne, even though he transferred to. Say what you want about Trevor Etienne. When okay, he won an SEC, won the SEC title at Georgia, but if you look at his numbers, he did not have the amount of success at Georgia, or at least statistically wise, the amount of success at Georgia that he had at Florida. From a statistical standpoint, yes, he made it to a college football playoff and got an SEC title. But if you're talking about his performance statistically, I think he probably was like, okay, it didn't work out at Georgia the way I would hope it would from that aspect. And in terms of and I think it also maybe could have hurt his stock, hurt his draft stock because he had more yards each year at Florida than he did at UGA. If he had similar numbers this year, this past year, because this was actually the best run game we've seen Florida have in a while, I think he maybe could have played himself into maybe being a third round pick instead of a fourth round pick. Now, fourth round pick is still pretty good, but I just think Etienne kind of left some good numbers on the table when he transferred from Florida to Georgia. But back to what Florida's roster, Jaden Ball obviously is a very good player. Jacoby Jackson stepped onto the field and really stood out. I believe he had some nice runs here and there, but I think the Georgia game last year in which DJ Lightweight got hurt was the game that he really, you know, broke out and really made a name for himself. And you were just, I remember watching the game thinking, yo, who is this running back? Like this number 24, Jacoby, man, is out here killing it against a pretty damn good Georgia defense. But a big part of a running back success is obviously steered towards the offensive line. And this is one of the reasons why I have more excitement with Billy Napier's offense this year compared to the last couple of years. Not just because of DJ Lagway, but because the offensive line has more Florida has more continuity at the offensive line than we've seen in quite some time. I'm going to name you 4 players here. That I'm on Florida's website, so I'm looking at the roster right now with the offensive line category. Austin Barber, Jake Slaughter, who was a Associated Press All-American, Damian George Jr., Kanaje Harris, who started the entire season at the left guard spot. And then behind those guys, you have a Roderick Kearney as the backup center. You have I know he's on here. You have Bryce Lovett, who was actually who as a redshirt freshman made the SEC freshman team last year as well. And you have Fletcher Westfall heading into his second year at Florida, and you have Cameron Waits at his 4th year at Florida. So basically, there's a lot of continuity that Florida has at the offensive line position. If you look at their offensive line, they only have 2 players that are either first-year freshmen or at the very least that are redshirt freshmen, like you would say a Jason Zenamella, Fletcher, and Chase. There's not really too many freshmen in their offensive line group. A lot of experience and a lot of depth there, and having that young nucleus of offensive linemen developing and building behind a group of already experienced starters. That is big in today's college football. So Florida has about 5,000 snaps returning at the offensive line position between George Jr., Austin Barber, Jake Slaughter, and Kanaje Harris combined, and that's not even including anybody else that may have went into the game, into any games last season. So it's a big plus when you have that level of continuity and experience coming back at that position for a young backfield that includes DJ Lagway, Jacoby Jackson, and Jaden Ball. And if your offensive line can play up to par, not only is the run game going to be good, but DJ Lagway is not going to have problems staying healthy because he's going to have a lot of time to throw the football around, and he has plenty of weapons at the wide receiver position to do so. So that is a very good reason for us as Florida fans to be excited about the run game this upcoming year, and why Cole Kubelik has Florida's running back room as the number 1 in the conference. And if you're the number one running back group in the SEC, you're likely worst case top 3 in the nation in terms of running backs. And Billy Napier, I has earned the benefit of the doubt when it comes to bringing in a running back and whoever he's seen from the transfer portal or from the JUCO cycle or from high school recruiting. So and it's not just Ball and Jackson, but you have Trayon Webb, who was looking as if he was going to have a nice second year at Florida until he hurt his leg against Mississippi State, and he had to redshirt. By the way, shout out to Trayon Webb. He graduated earlier this month. He actually graduated on my birthday, May 4th. So congratulations to him on that. And now he'll be at Florida, and since he's fulfilled his academic obligations, he can just focus on football now. And I think that will make Trayon Webb even better. I actually think Trayon Webb could have a very nice breakout season for Florida this upcoming year. And not only do you have him, but if you look at the other running backs, Duke Clark looked pretty good in the spring game. KD Daniels showed some electricity in the game against Tulane, in which he recovered a fumbled snap and then took that for 20 yards to a touchdown. You have also Chad Gaspard Jr., who was kind of the forgotten man of the running back group this past running back room, because by the way, the running back room is not finalized yet, because Byron Lewis, who flipped from Florida State to Florida, he'll be entering during the summer. Florida has some summer enrollees that have yet to officially matriculate to the university yet. I'm gonna pull them up right here, and hopefully I can hopefully it doesn't take me too long to pull them up. But yeah, it should be a very good season for Florida at the running back spot. Okay, commitments. Let's go to 2025. Enrolled. Okay, signed. Okay, here we go. Here's the signed letter of intent for the summer release. Here you go. Byron Lewis, 5'11", 200 pounds, from American Heritage. From my neck of the wood. I didn't go to American Heritage, but he's from Fort Lauderdale like me. And I went to high school in Coconut Creek. He went to American Heritage. So he'll be entering it's a pretty deep running back room. But should be a fun room to watch for Florida in 2025. So I agree with Cole Kubalik. I think he had a very nice evaluation. It was going off of not just the talent and the projection, but also the experience of what he can build off of last year. And I think if the run game is pretty good, then I think it takes a lot of things off of DJ Lagway's plate, and I think it will make it a simpler game for him and for the offense. So go Gators, and thanks for listening.